when I talked to Maureen and Akpeyemi earlier, on employability did come up a bit. And Aiki kind of runs something around employability programs.
Yes.
What is that about? What is employability and why the need to focus on that?
Employability has to do with everything that is required to move a young person from school to work. Now, all the skills you need to know to move from school to work for that transition process to happen. And Aiki is a platform where you can get all the resources you need, whether it is how to prepare a good resume, whether it is how to navigate an interview, whether it is critical thinking and problem solving, whether it is emotional intelligence, everything you need on the job to be excellent, to get in and to be excellent on the job, we have it all on the Aiki portal. And, you know, the internet is growing in this part of the world, but we're not quite there yet. So Aiki needs to have offline expression. So we run projects offline as well, have training programs where we put graduates in a room and do live interview sessions for them, get to know, just get knowledge. Now, you sit down across an interview, when you go for a job, I mean, the opportunity is there ready for you to take it. That's why they called for the applications anyway.
Yes, yes.
And so when you sit across that table, the person in front of you is more than willing to give you an opportunity. You just have to prove that you're the right fit for the job. And what's going to prove you're the right fit for the job is not because of how eager you are to earn a salary. It has to do with how eager you are to add value, and also what kind of track record do you have adding value in different systems. What have you been doing in the time that you were alone all by yourself? Have you gone online? Have you gone on Aiki.com to learn what you need to do to navigate an interview? Have you visited FORA to find out what they're training you on and how you can leverage that in getting a job? So the responsibility, I would not say, is entirely for the youth. When we say who is the cause of the problem of unemployment in Nigeria, we can't say it's the youth that are unemployable. But as the situation is, in managing it, the victim usually is the youth. All right, so don't allow yourself be the victim of the situation, even though you're not the cause or the reason why it is the way it is. There are many things that have been put in place, like Aiki, like FORA, that you can leverage today, and you're going to sit down across that person in an interview and present yourself better, and you get a job. I've done several interviews for companies, and I find that if you know what you're doing in life, if you have a certain purpose in life, it will be difficult for you to be unemployed. So you have a situation where people have 5 companies running after them, and some other guy doesn't have one company calling him for an interview. Yes, there are not enough jobs, but the few jobs that are available, you can get one if you've trained yourself well enough to get them.
Yeah. You touched on something earlier when you talked about 5 years working experience, which is like a thing in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Also, another thing in Nigeria too is the focus on grades. Most people want to employ a certain, you have to have a 2-1 or things along those lines.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? Because I know it was also touched on at the economic summit where we said they need to focus more on potential and talent. But how do you gauge potential?
I think okay, having been through the process myself, I think grades are kind of like how do I put it? Like it's kind of like a symbol for tenacity and for focus. It's not necessarily that we care about grades. In Canada, because I know the average person, is somewhat competent, I'm able to employ people that are not necessarily of the same grade level if they've proven themselves through work.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily about grades, but it's definitely going to be, grades are kind of like a symbol for tenacity and stuff like that. So I think that's where that comes from. But I think a good way around it is to have projects. There are a lot of young people in Unilag that I know of, a lot of my friends in Unilag at Babcock that basically have a lot of projects. They have a lot of software projects. So when we're looking for software engineers, we know to go to these people and we actively pursue them. And they're making so much money doing projects that they don't actually want a job because they make more money doing projects than getting a job. So if you think you're not the kind who's academically inclined or you're in a boring course or whatever, just have a lot of projects, put a lot of things out there and you'll have opportunities come your way.
Since we're touching on things to do other than employment, we talked about agriculture when I had Maureen and Akpeyemi here, and I think I need to touch on that because it's something I'm very excited about, and I think everybody seems to be excited about it. The government is excited about it, private sector, the international community. So obviously there's something there, but like I said, funding is always going to be a big problem. Are we going to be able to unlock all of that soon enough?
Agriculture is great. Agriculture is great, and it's going to be a huge employer of labor if it's opened up well enough. However, the number of people that are going to go into agriculture in Nigeria as it is now still remains limited.
Yeah.
The number of people that are going to be able to access funds here still remains limited. It's a fundamental challenge. You have a farm that you want to acquire a loan from a bank to be able to develop or cultivate and then sell something or export something. The day you're going to sit across the bank manager to try to ask for a loan, what are you going to be telling the person? You're going to be selling yourself, you're going to be selling your business, you're going to be selling your idea. That's the same thing that you needed to do if you're going to sit across an interview on a job. That's the same thing that you needed to do if you're going to sit in a panel to try to get a business loan. That's the same thing you're trying to do. So it's the same challenge where education has hampered growth in employment. It's still going to be a challenge in agriculture, because our curriculum has not taught people how to sell themselves, how to sell their ideas. So I wake up and I said, I want to plant a fantastic maybe maize or something, and I need money. I haven't come to you. I say, hi, Ebuka, I want to do this. And you want to listen to me as to how serious I am. You want to know what I know about the industry. You want to know how long I'll be in business. You want to know what I have done before that's going to warrant you justifying in your mind that you want to give me a loan. And there's no track record for that. So as big as agriculture is, until we start changing this thing in the educational system, agriculture is still going to have the same challenge we're having across all industries.
Very finally now, just very quickly, what do you want to see done differently? I don't want to say maybe in a couple of years or in a year or two.
Okay, so I'll be very frank. I have some very, very quick bullet points about that. One of them is definitely going to be changing the way the education system works. Babcock University, which is one of my favorite universities in Nigeria, just from seeing the way they work, kind of almost compels all your students to do an IT every summer. I think that should be something every university does, and that private sector creates opportunities for. Every single Nigerian child should be able to hold the job in the summer, so that when they graduate and they're 24, 25, they can at least point to...
It's not strange to them.
It's not strange to them, and they can at least point to 9 months of work experience or something of the sort. And I think parents that are listening definitely should be investing in that kind of thing. Like, make sure your child gets a summer job. You shouldn't stay at home and watch movies and stuff like that. That's one thing. And if that's the only thing that happens, I think we'll make a big difference.
Thank you very much, Brian, from Aiki, Aiki.org, I think.
Aiki.ng.
And of course,
FORA.co. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Like I always say, you can join the conversation on Twitter at YNigerTV is the handle. The hashtag is Rubbin Minds. Also, the website yniger.com/TV. Remember, you've never seen young people talk like this before. I'll see you next week.
We represent